In this video, I'm going to break down the exact skill set, height measurements, all the requirements that you need to be a Division I running back. So if you're a running back and you're aspiring to hit that D1 level and you want to know, man, how do I even get to that point? Well, stay tuned and watch this full video because you do not want to miss this. What is good, YouTube? Welcome back to another video here at desireLess with your guy KJ, bringing more bangers for running backs to elevate and dominate the competition. And today I have something very special for you guys. So I'm going to break down what is needed for you in order to become a Division I running back, what are coaches looking for, and also even if you don't follow those qualifications, how you can still hit that level. Okay, so before we get to the video, I recommend that if you're a guy, you want to watch this in 1.5 or 2.0 speed because it lets you digest it at a faster rate, and the whole purpose is you don't want to remember everything in this video, you just want to remember the principles. Okay, so let's go into it. So let's break down what are the typical I won't even say stereotypical, but what are the requirements, the prerequisites that coaches are looking for when they're looking for a Division I running back. So we're going to start off with just basic height and weight. Okay, so for height, the average they're usually looking for, I'm going to give like a range. Okay, I'm going to give it a range. I would say 5'10" to 6'1". Okay, that's usually like the bare minimum height that they're looking for a general population. So 95% of running backs that are getting recruited, and once again, this is for the general. I know there's exceptions to the rule. There's guys who might be 6'3", there's guys who might be 5'6", like my height. But for the general population, this is usually what coaches are looking for, between 5'10" to 6'1" range. All right, when we go to weight, that's going to be around 195 to 220. Okay, that's another thing that coaches are looking for, is that they want to have you be big enough to be able to bang in the middle and be able to bang inside the run place, because what, D linemen are 270 at the D1 level and the linebackers are 230, 240. So at the running back, 195, 220, around 5'10", 6'1", that usually puts you in a good ballpark to recruiters when they're coming to your school or when they're introducing yourself or trying to figure out who you are at camps, anything like that. These are usually the basic general numbers. Now you can look this up from online, from just the average D1 players on a team, or you just look at just like recruiting sites. They bring up like what are the bare minimum requirements for Power 4 levels, FCS levels, and obviously each level goes down. This is for like top like D1 level. I'm talking like Power 4, high level, Big 10, SEC. This is usually like general for guys that are on their team and guys who they're recruiting. Okay, so now we're gonna go more into like the physical traits. So let's go. So speed, obviously number one thing is, what's the 40? So 40 for a top Division I running back usually will be 4.4. I'll say 4.4 to 4.59. Usually around that time. They don't really want a guy who runs above a 4.6 on hand time, because usually most high school 40 dashes are hand time. So usually between that 4.4 to 4.59 is usually the great range that they're looking for the running backs. And there's a reason for that, because they're going to be able to see this within your film. So when they're watching your film, they want to see, can you pull away from second level defenders? That's like the number one thing that coaches are looking for, is that, are you looking super athletic compared to your high school competition? Because that'll be a good indicator that they can develop you into a great back. All right, they really want you to have the physical traits so they can teach you the skills, because they have the resources, they have everything they need to teach you the skill. So now they're just looking for, okay, can we get the physical things so we can get him to maybe that high level vision, IQ, all those other things. But usually, like I said, 4.4 to 4.59, and usually like the top elite D1 backs are usually running in that 4.4 range. Okay, and the other things that they'll be looking for is usually like, let's say for a Division I back, they usually like awards. So you need like some all-state honors, definitely all-state honors. I think minimum 1,000 yards rushing. I made it short on this. Definitely think 1,000 yards rushing, all-state honors, and then like 3 years of varsity football. Okay, so 3 years of varsity football, 1,000 yards, and all-state awards. That's usually is a good indicator that you were a guy who was respected in your conference, in your state. You're able to produce at a high level, 1,000 yards, which isn't crazy amount. It's a good amount, but it isn't a crazy amount for some guys who rush for 2K or they rush for 1,600 yards, anything like that. Especially if you're a guy who's going to be a D1 back, you should make high school look easy. All-state honors, we already talked about that, and 3 years of varsity showing that you've been a guy who's been good enough to play varsity 3 years. Now, obviously, there are exceptions to the rules. I understand there are guys who might play 1 year of varsity and went D1. There's guys who might have played 4 years of varsity. But usually the general around once you get your sophomore year, if you're a D1 back, you usually will be good enough to at least get playing time. Starting this and that, but at least some playing time and be able to produce at a high level. All right. And then also maybe like some player of the year awards, maybe like your conference player of the year, maybe your district, regional, depending on how big your state is and how they do about it. Okay. And then let's just talk about like the actual, like the physical traits. These are like more like production. Let's go like actual physical skill traits. So what are they looking for really? They want the running back to show speed, quickness, quickness. We want to go power, upper and lower. Okay, so when they're watching their film, they want to see that you're a guy who's popping out the screen right away. If they can honestly get a good feel of are you a good athlete, because they can develop the skill and the IQ later. But they want to know, man, are you a difference maker at your level? So are you showing good speed? Are you breaking level from second and third level defenders, making it look easy, or outrunning angles at the high school level? Quickness, are you showing that you can make quick cuts? Are you showing that you can hit your 0 to 60 right away? That's what it really comes down to for a running back, is that you gotta hit that 0 to 60 right away. Gotta be a guy who can accelerate, and then that power, upper and lower body. So for most backs, usually if you fall into that 5'10", 6 foot range, 220, all that, like usually 210, anything with that, you got to show power. Okay, you got to show that you're strong enough to what? Run through tackles, run through guys. You got to show good lower body strength when you're running through tackles, and upper body strength when you're blocking somebody. Maybe you're hitting somebody with a stiff arm. Maybe you're picking up a blitz, anything like that. That's showing good upper body strength and lower body strength, and that's what they're looking for. Speed, quickness, power, upper body, lower body, breaking away from second level defenders, and the balance. Which you gonna throw that in there? Don't talk about my writing, okay? I got that doctor handwriting, but they want to see that balance too. So staying stable and overall just being a guy who just dominate at the level. That's really when it comes down to, with simple terms and layman terms. Are you a guy who is able to dominate and make high school look easy? It's so critical that you make high school look easy, because even in, let's say if you're a guy who's in a transfer report and you're transferring, coaches go back to even look at your high school film. Were you a guy who made high school look easy? So here are like the basic things that if you want to be a Division I running back, these are usually like the basic things that the coaches are looking for and that you should be able to do around this height, weight, accolades, physical measurements, physical skill sets. All of that stuff is what coaches are looking for. Now I'm going to break down something that is not really something that, now I'm going to break down how, even if you don't follow in this criteria, what you can focus on and still go D1. Because like I said, this falls for 95% of Division I running backs. But say you're a guy who's in that 5%. Say you're a guy who's like me, who was undersized, who didn't start in high school, who didn't have 1,000 yards a season, who still has ambition to reach high levels. But it's like, okay, what do I need to focus on? Because this is a good map, but this is for the general running backs. And if I'm an undersized guy, I don't think I can be put in that position. Okay, so I'm going to create this perfect blueprint for you. Let's erase this right now. So let's just say you're an undersized guy. Let's say you're a guy who's like 5'7", 160 pounds. You're the undersized guy. I'm going to draw you 5'7". Let's say you're 170. All right, 5'7", 170. Okay, so what you definitely have to display if you're a guy who wants to still attract the coaches, because there are guys who are short. I was a short guy in college. There are other short running backs in college, but this is different benchmark or different things that they're looking for with you. So one, if you're a smaller guy, you got to show speed and quickness. All right. Now I mentioned speed before and quickness before, but I'm talking about you got to show like blazing speed. I'm talking like you ever watch somebody's film like, oh snap, that dude's fast. When you watch Tyreek Hill, there's no question he's fast. You just know, oh yeah, he's fast. When you watch Jahmyr Gibbs, it's like, oh yeah, he's fast. When you watch other super fast players, I'm trying to think of who's other fast players, maybe in college football, Zachariah Branch. When you watch him, it's like, oh yeah, he's quick, he's explosive. All right, that's what they're usually are looking for as an undersized guy. You have to be speed, quickness. I'm talking like 4.3s, low 4.4s. That's how quick I'm talking about. Like, you got to be bringing that blazing speed. On top of that, versatility. So since you're obviously way smaller than the average running back, you have to be more versatile. You can't bring the same thing that a regular running back provides. And that's one thing that I messed up on when I was in high school, is that when I was coming up, I was focusing on trying to get better, as in like the general stuff that I put earlier. I was focusing on getting faster, bigger, stronger, but like all basic stuff that didn't separate me. So when I was improving my skills, I was a small back who was trying to stand out. And how can I stand out if I'm doing the same stuff that a regular big back's doing, like Cam Porter, who I was his backup? And when it comes down to deciding to who they want to recruit or who they want to play, who are they going to play? The bigger or the smaller guy? The bigger guy, because they have to bring the same skill set. So if we're smaller, we have to do different things at a much higher rate. So we got to be fast and quick, super fast, super quick. We got to be versatile. That meaning we got to be able to catch, have good receiving skills, return, have that return, playmaking ability. All that things come to versatility. We gotta be like a Swiss Army knife. We gotta be a guy who can catch who can do jet sweeps, who can catch bubbles, who can run routes, who can throw the ball. You need to be a guy who can do a lot of things. You know, pass pro, run the ball inside the tackles. You gotta be a Swiss Army knife, all right? That's gonna be your key. Blazing speed, 4-4, versatility, returning kicks, returning punch, using our playmaking ability in space, all right? Being elusive, you gotta be able to make guys miss. You gotta be elusive. Like, you gotta be a guy who, like I said, playmaking ability, making guys miss. We're not playing the same game, okay? We have to stand out in different ways because we're an undersized guy, all right? These are things that you must focus on compared to what the other coaches were looking for. They were looking for just basic speed and power. Right here, we're looking for more skill set in a niche. This niche is small guys, scat back, short guys, your Tyreek Hills, your Rondale Moores, your Deuce Vaughns, all those guys, Cavante Turpin, stuff like that. Like guys who are super fast, versatile. They can run the ball, they can catch the ball, they can receive the ball, they can return the ball. All right, we got to be elusive. We got to be able to make guys miss, have that playmaking ability. So when you do this and you're best at this, now you're competing with, okay, you're competing, I'm trying to find some room. All right, you're competing with, let's say you're competing versus small scat backs. So you're competing versus small scat backs when it comes to recruitment. I'm not competing against every other running back. When you follow the blueprint that I gave earlier, where you're using the same skill set as the 5'10" to 6'1", 220 running back, then you're competing with every running back in the country. You will not win because you're little and you don't follow that curriculum. But that's good because we break down in a niche. All right, so cool. I don't want to train with y'all anyway. I don't want to be compared to y'all anyway. Now I want to focus on my niche. Okay, so now your niche, now you're competing with only guys who follow this curriculum. Guys who are 5'7", guys who are 170, guys who are super fast and super quick, guys who are versatile, guys who are elusive, okay? That's how you can stand out. When Tyreek Hill was coming up, was he trying to compete and try to be like every wide receiver? Was Tyreek Hill trying to play like Mike Evans? Was Tyreek Hill trying to be like Julio Jones? No, Tyreek Hill was being Tyreek Hill. He was being a guy who can return, can run the ball, can catch, punch, all that, versatility, all that stuff. So when he finally started to get his name out there and started to develop, they knew him for this. He was compared to other small guys. And guess what? He was the best small guy. So if he was the best small guy, then what? People were more attracted to him. He was able to get drafted. He was able to make Pro Bowls at a young age, at a young, like first, second year, because he was in a specific niche. If he'd have tried to be like Julio Jones or this and that, he would have never got to that point. Now he is at that point because he's developed, he's spent years and years of crafting the skills. But at the beginning, if you want to stand out, you got to focus on this, okay? So here in this video, I break down like the basic requirements that you need to be a Division I running back. And also, if you don't follow that 95% of running backs and you still want to go D1, here's the blueprint right here that you need to focus on. If you're a smaller guy and you're a guy who still, there are chances. There's small guys who are elite. You have your D'Anthony Thomases that was elite. You have your Tavon Austin's. You have all these different guys who still were some of the college football greats, and they weren't the biggest, the biggest guy in the world. Okay, so if you enjoyed this video, man, give this video a thumbs up. And also, if you're a guy and you enjoyed kind of what I just did and I made this breakdown, you're like, man, like, okay, I'm a guy who either follows that basic general curriculum or I'm a guy who doesn't. And I like how the skill set you broke down, everything, speed, quickness, versatility. How do I get better at that? How can I improve in that? Okay, if you're interested in that, then join our one-on-one coaching program where we pretty much hold your hand and guide you through to help you be elite and kind of gain the skill sets that you need. We're not teaching you basic stuff that every other trainer does. You're going to focus on your speed, your speed, your strength, power. No, we're going to give you this blueprint right here and more in a much more detailed version so you can stand out in your niche. If you're interested in that, hit the link in the description down below. We can see if we can book a free strategy call to see if we can help you out. Like I said, it's 100% free. We just want to see if we can help you out. You might like it, you might not, but this is for guys who actually want to stand out in their niche. Okay, even if you're a power back, there's still a niche within that. If you're a bigger back, smaller back, medium back, there's niches. And if you want a real tailored plan that actually focuses on that niche, hit the link in the description down below. We book a strategy call and we'll help you out. All right, but this is all I got for you guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. See you next time.